Back inside the Pirate Radio Zoom room, brought to you by Sailor Warehouse, your local U.S. Sailor authorized agent. Also, White Claw, hard seltzer, and your CBD store. Our guest today, former ECU catcher, now a part of the Cubs organization, Jake Washer, joining us. Jake, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Good to talk to you again. And first question, what's it like living with Bryant Packard? It's got to be weird, right?
Yeah, he's he definitely keeps everything interesting. So we always have something going on. But he just moved out not too long ago.
Oh, yeah?
But we had a place together for about 2 months.
Nice. Jake, what are you doing right now as you're kind of hanging out? You minor league players are out there kind of hanging on a rope right now trying to figure out what your rest of your year is going to be like, right? So,
yeah, we haven't been.
Go ahead.
We haven't been told anything.
Yeah.
They only have kind of ideas, and they told us they're planning for any kind of situation to where all of us can go back at some point. And from what I was told, that how quickly we left, because it was in just a couple of days where it's like, oh, this is getting bad. You guys need to go. From what I've been told, it could be, oh, everything's better. Just send you back like the next day, not even having any time to really get your things together. But if that's what it takes to get back down there, I'm all for it.
And on that note, you got to be ready to go. So how are you staying in shape, and how are you finding a way to get some swings in?
Yeah, we have some places around here where we lift and hit and throw and do everything we need to do. And we have more than most people, at least most of my teammates that don't have a gym or cages. So have an advantage over them. But yeah, that's why I stayed in Greenville, because at home I don't have anything. That's why I live here in the off season as well.
Jake, before every ECU baseball season, Ronnie Woodward with the Reflector and I kind of do our projections for the season, just something fun to do. And when we do that, we go back and look at the previous year's stats. So this February, we were saying, okay, who's going to hit the most home runs? How many home runs will it be? And we look back at the stats, and no offense, but when I saw your numbers, I was like, damn, Jake hit that many home runs? You went on a tear towards the end of the season. What's that feeling like when you're locked in like that at the end of the year, postseason, and the ball, I guess, looks like a beach ball, right? What's that feeling like for you?
Yeah, and it timed up perfectly to where I started getting hot right as conference tournament started. And I did well through conference, but non-conference early season, I was kind of iffy. But I found something. I changed my stance and my swing, and found something that worked better for me in Florida, and it stuck with me through the regional. And I knew, and I tell people this, I knew going up my second at bat against Quinnipiac, the second time we played them, I knew 100% that I was going to hit a home run. And that's the only time in my life I've ever felt like that. And luckily it came true. But it was weird being, just everything looked good to me. It was a lot of fun.
That's interesting too. As many swings as you guys take a day, that you could make that adjustment like that late in the year in your final season at ECU. Is that the way it is for all ball players? That if things aren't going right, you figure out what's going wrong, make that adjustment, and go on from there.
Yeah, and for me, it's just if something's not working, I'm gonna change it, and it helps me think like if I change it, then it's going to work. And all I did was just simplified, shorter stride, nothing too serious, but it ended up helping me out. And hand placement, my stance change all the time. And I know Packard as well likes to change his stance when he's not feeling well. So yeah, just finding what works and what feels good to you. You kind of pick it up as you go along. You don't want to make any major changes in the middle of the season, or you're just going to not be successful, really.
Jake, Cliff Godwin's one of the more intense, focused people I've ever met. And, not even from a skill standpoint, how did you change maybe from a mentality standpoint being at ECU? Were you locked in day one? Did it take a little while to kind of get fully on board? What's that like?
My journey was a weird one, and it was a really good one, though. So I came in being top of my high school conference, just blowing through it, and then coming in thinking I was going to do the same thing here. And quickly I found out that I was not the best player on the field anymore, possibly one of the worst ones. And going through that first day here, running the stadium, it's like, oh, this is for real. Like, this is serious. And then every day that's my freshman summer, we came in, we are just in the weight room, out of it, can barely walk. It was, and that's the thing. You never know, and that's why a lot of people end up leaving. You never know until you get to the place how it's going to be like. But my overall journey, coach, he made me a much, much better catcher. In high school, I was just a hitter that could catch, and I was always catching, but I was never really good at it. And he saw that I was really inflexible, unflexible, whatever the word. So we took that, and he just worked with me every day, every single day. And a funny story, he brought me in one morning my freshman year to do drill work, to receiving work off the pitching machine. And it was just me out there. And he's feeding me balls, like midsummer or early fall. So it's hot, 100 degrees. And afterwards, I'm lightheaded, and I go over to the dugout. And this is when we had the dirt warning track.
Mm.
And throw up right on the warning track. And I didn't know. And coach comes up to me. He says, "Well, Wash, you threw up in front of Gavin Williams, our biggest recruit. You're lucky. You're lucky you committed." I was like, "Oh, my bad. I didn't even notice." But yeah, him coaching me hard like that, and then watching Travis play.
Yeah.
Especially my first year when I just sat there, I traveled everywhere, just went to the bullpen and would watch him, and would still practice every day, and essentially became who I was my redshirt sophomore year, so my third year. But I was prepared to play my sophomore year. I had grown a lot, played summer ball, was doing really well, and I had my injury, and I was out for half the year. Only got 12 at bats. So yeah, it was a little roller coaster, a little bumpy, but
yeah,
everything turned out to work in the end. So I'm very happy with it.
Jake, you mentioned Gavin. There are some Pirates when you look at Alec Burleson, Gavin Williams, and I think Bryson Worrell was going to have a breakout season. We just didn't get to see a lot of it, but
yeah,
only 5 rounds in the MLB draft this year. You know, and not that you need to think about it. You've been drafted, you're on a team, but how stressful would that be for these guys with only 5 rounds? And then after that, what? You're basically a free agent. You can sign me,
yeah,
or you can go back to school. It's a weird situation. You're glad you're not dealing with that.
yeah. It's very nice, and I wouldn't have been picked because I was way later. But yeah, free agents get 20,000, so that's a tough decision. And my thought process is they're going to start grabbing a lot more high school kids,
Yeah.
just because that's what personally I think. But I'm not too sure. But that is stressful because we have some great players that were 100% going to get picked up, and now they're kind of on the borderline, and they deserve to play. But is 20,000 enough to take and not finish your last season? Because I think if that happened to me, I probably wouldn't do it. I would want a full season to end my career on, and I think most of them think that way, unless they are in those first top 5 rounds and they get the money they want. Then, but I don't know.
Jake, I mean, I can't imagine the situation you're in being drafted. Like, I'm a big Braves fan, but I got to imagine if I was a good player, I wouldn't care who I got drafted by. To go to an organization like the Cubs, I don't know who you rooted for growing up, but one of those classic organizations. How cool was that for you?
It's awesome, and you can see it when you get there how historic it is and everything that goes into it, and how well known the Cubs are. Just because it was on they were on WGN.
WGN, yeah.
Yeah, so you have Cubs fans across the country, and you see that everywhere, and it's really, really cool. And they take really good care of us.
I saw you played for the Eugene Emeralds. I love minor league hats. You guys had a cool hat there in Eugene. But Jake, any idea once you get back going where you'll start as far as short A, single A? Any idea at all?
I was when we were in spring training, they split us into teams. So I was on Myrtle Beach team, and usually they do that that's where they project you to be.
Okay.
So I was hoping to start there, but I never made it to low A. So I was assuming I would start in low A, possibly make it to high A. That was my goal there.
So pretty soon, Myrtle Beach, they play Down East Wood Ducks in Kinston. I think they're in the same. Yeah, so we could see you back here soon, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, and they also play the Winston-Salem Dash, where my family's from. So
nice.
It'd be really cool.
Good deal. Well, Jake, hang in there, man. Hopefully, we can see you back on the field soon and talk about your stats instead of talking about boring stuff like this. But hang in there. Great to catch up with you, man, and good luck to you. We'll keep in touch.
Thank you very much. Great talking to you.
Appreciate it, man. There's Jake Washer, former ECU catcher, joining us inside the Pirate Radio Zoom room. Brought to you by Sailor Warehouse, your local U.S. Sailor authorized agent. Also, White Claw Hard Seltzer, distributed by Coastal Beverage Company, and your CBD store, offering curbside and delivery service next to Duck Donuts on Arlington Boulevard. For Jake Washer, Clip Rock here. We'll see you next time in the Zoom room.